Hello there gorgeous gamers, and welcome back to Pure Play TV for another video review, and this time we're looking at Medal of Honor Above and Beyond for PC VR headsets. The game is out now on PC VR, and this review was done playing the game on Oculus Quest 2 using the link feature. Full disclosure, I am an old school Medal of Honor fan, so when I heard that Respawn Entertainment was bringing it back, and in VR no less, it was a gaming dream come true. But the truth is, it's been 8 years since the gaming world has seen a Medal of Honor game, and even longer since we've seen a good one. But if anyone could give us a good Medal of Honor, it would be the developer of Titanfall, Apex Legends, and part of the team behind the legendary Call of Duty Modern Warfare. In the days leading up to the release, however, we were peppered with stories about the game's historically massive install size and borderline ridiculous minimum specs. I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. After blasting my way through the campaign and running around in the multiplayer, I can say most of my worries were justified, and yet I still found plenty to love. Before we carry on with this video, do us a favour and hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and the bell icon too, so that you're the first to know when we've got new stuff. Cheers my dears. The single player campaign manages to come in at a surprising 10 plus hours. You wouldn't have guessed it from the pace of the first few missions. Some of the very first scenes are comically short, featuring an awkward and very flat, game-ish 2D victory sign at the end. Thankfully, the load screen that follows every one of these victory signs is short, but every one of these is followed by a load screen, and there are over 50 of them. To be fair, these don't make the game bad, and these levels or scenes aren't bad. They're just regular video game levels that someone decided to cut into pieces. Maybe this was to keep new VR players comfortable. I don't know if it worked, but it definitely threw me off the pace of the game, especially at the beginning. It gave me an early impression that the game was going to be shallow, when that wasn't the case at all. In fact, I grew to care about each of the small cast of characters that make up your crew. The story is not groundbreaking, but that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, and if it is, wow, where have you been? But it wasn't bad, and there are actually some real moments in it. These moments are surrounded by plenty of cheesy dialogue, and more genre tropes than you can shoot a Thompson at, but some tropes work. If you don't believe me, ask a romance writer what happens if the girl doesn't end up with the guy at the end. But saying all that, the story is not what you play these games for. It sure isn't what I play them for. I play them because it's fun to shoot fake bad guys, especially Nazis and especially in VR. And I've always wanted to experience some of those epic, over-the-top action scenes inside a headset. And Medal of Honor Above and Beyond handles both of these in spades. There isn't a ton of guns, but they feel and sound great. This is Respawn, so that should come as no surprise. The reload sequence for each weapon gives you that level of real-world immersion that makes VR so cool, but it streamlines the action a little bit. A button will eject the spent mag, and you simply lower your free hand in the general vicinity of your belt to grab a fresh one. Slam it home and pull back the slide or bolt to charge the next round. It's a nice mix of Onward's realism and Population 1's accessibility. Each weapon was fun to use, with my personal favourites being the M1 Garand, the Repeater, and the pump action shotgun. The sniper scopes are the lone disappointment as far as the weapons go. The entire screen goes dark as soon as you lift the gun close to your head, although removing your trigger finger far enough from the trigger brings back your full view. This allows you to use your trigger hand to slide the bolt back to chamber a new round while keeping the rifle in the firing position and maintaining a full view of the battlefield. The weapons look and sound great, which is an obvious must in a first-person shooter, but my absolute favourite part of the game is the amazing action set pieces. They're big, exciting, loud, and basically everything I wanted them to be. The first of many of these scenes comes very early in the game. You and your ragtag team are set to derail a train. Your bomb expert places a charge on the tracks, and you and the rest of the team want to move back to a safer position. But your expert insists his maths checks out and you're all safe hiding behind a massive boulder jutting out of the ground. Safe to say, his maths was shit, and the train comes at you so loud and fast that I literally wanted to duck for cover. My whole house heard me scream out in excitement, but I couldn't hear anything aside from the deafening sound of a train crashing over and all around me. That was just the first, and not nearly the best, of what was to come. If you're a veteran of the genre, you'll no doubt have seen most of these set pieces before, but never in VR, and here they really do deliver. When you're not racing through the darkness in a motorcycle sidecar, or piloting the guns of a giant dropship, or swimming to safety after your ship sinks, you're hiding behind cover and shooting one Nazi after another, slowly advancing when you can. Sound familiar? Of course it does. That is basically every first-person shooter ever. To this point, I think Respawn made a concerted effort to make an impressive amount of unique locales. Whether you're sweeping an enemy minefield, clearing an enemy bunker, a German train, or storming Omaha Beach, almost every scene offered something new to look at. Plus, the surprisingly aggressive AI also played their part to keep things fresh. They were always pushing forward and were usually deadly accurate on the normal difficulty. I remember at one point standing at the top of a staircase, just out of sight of some German soldiers in the room below. I grabbed a grenade from my chest, pulled the pin with my teeth, and then tossed it down the stairs. I watched and waited with morbid excitement for the explosion to clear the room. Instead, I saw a young soldier dive on top of the grenade, sacrificing himself to save the other soldiers in the room. I'm also pretty sure I saw one of them kick a grenade back in my general direction later in the game. Despite the enemy's tenacity, you can take a fair amount of damage before dying. Plus, you can heal yourself by jamming a syringe into your chest. Don't try that at home. Don't. When the missions don't work, it's usually due to the biggest fault I've found with the latest edition of Medal of Honor. The physical interactions are a mess, and it's the most obvious evidence that this is Respawn's first VR game. Trying to interact with objects in the world is extremely inaccurate. If there are two things on a table that you want to grab, count on picking up the thing you don't want. There's one section where you and your cohort sneak into a German base in disguise. After a quick exchange with a high-ranking German official, you'll need to grab something off of the desk and bash him in the face. When he's out cold, you'll scribble a code from his desk on your hand that you'll need to input later. When it comes time to input the code into a panel, it simply refused to work, despite me carefully and very slowly punching in the code over and over and over. I was using my index finger to press the 3 digits, but apparently the palm of my hand was getting in the way, although there was no visible or tactile information relayed to me, allowing me to adjust. Once I finally figured out the problem, I had to turn my hand in an awkward position to perform the task. This was made even more strange due to the fact that there was a playable piano earlier in the game that was extremely accurate and easy to play. Strange. After playing games like Half-Life Alyx and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, their excellent use of physics-based gameplay raised the bar to heights that Medal of Honor does not reach. In fact, I don't think they even tried. To be fair, it seems that Respawn Entertainment put its focus towards creating much larger environments than those two games and big Hollywood-style set pieces. But hopefully, the days of your virtual hand passing through objects will soon be over. The multiplayer mode could have been fun, and it probably is for players with more powerful computers, but for my system, it was too choppy when the match was full of other players, even set to medium. The graphical hit the game takes on low was a bridge too far for me. I tried each of the game modes and most of them felt very similar. The action was fast and furious and I loved most of the maps, but with no sidearms and zero progression, it still managed to feel shallow. I actually preferred the Horde mode here, which is not usually my thing. As far as comfort options go, there is no teleportation available, but even on my underpowered rig, it ran smooth enough that I never suffered any motion sickness. Unfortunately, the game is click turning only, but hopefully they will patch in smooth turning soon. In addition to the multiplayer and Horde mode, there's also a fantastic documentary series that features stories told by World War II soldiers, and some awesome 360-degree videos. It did feel weird that you have to unlock it by playing through the campaign, plus I would have really rather watched it on my TV. Despite a deep campaign that I enjoyed and some big budget action pieces that I absolutely loved, it's hard to recommend Medal of Honor Above and Beyond at $60, especially if your PC doesn't meet the game's overly high recommended specs. There are a ton of moments here that I'm sure every VR shooter fan would enjoy. It's just too bad that they couldn't get it running on more systems. And that is the end of this review. I hope you enjoyed it and found it to be useful in some way. If you did, you know what to do. Go down below and hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the bell icon so that you're notified when we've got new stuff. I've been Chris, you've been my faithful brothers and sisters in arms, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye!